shout out and welcome to Kristen Beal-Watson, who is the president of the Kern Community Foundation, who has helped supply many of our non-clinical support roles, working in partnership with organizations such as Garden Pathways. These are individuals who have maybe had a tough time getting a job due to their life circumstances, and we're delighted to be able to provide a little bit of hope for them and give them a job for a few weeks and collaborate with these organizations in some job training skills. So a little bit about our site real quickly. We have the capacity to administer 5,400 vaccinations a day. We are not reaching that capacity right now because we don't have enough people coming through our gates. We have plenty of vaccine, but the folks who are in the eligible tiers right now, we need the tiers, frankly, to open wider so that we can have more people take advantage of that and put an end to this pandemic. When the partners sat around and began this journey about 4 weeks ago to put this site together, we took a moment to think about what it is that we wanted this site to ultimately do. So we created a vision statement for our site, for ourselves, and we've trained everyone here to that vision. And that vision is to bring an end to this pandemic and to spread hope and joy. So, Governor, when you went around today and saw our site, I hope you felt that hope and joy. So, next I'd like to invite Mayor Go up to say a few words. Karen.
Thank you, David. Well, behind me it says together. Together we can slow the spread. We're bringing hope together and slowing the spread. And I am so glad that we actually have wonderful partners in our community where you have 3 hospitals uniting, we have our university uniting, but we also have our governor uniting with all of us. David was talking about the vaccine capability, and we have enough of vaccine today. But that was not the case on February 22nd when the governor was here in Arvin. And just before, we had made a plea to you, Governor, for an increase in vaccines. We did not have enough for our community. And when the governor was here in Arvin, he was able to announce a 78% increase to Kern County, and that 34,000 doses were being diverted from other places to Kern County to meet the needs of our challenged community. And we are so grateful that together that is happening. It really is all about being together, that we can bring the hope and then, hopefully very soon, the joy to our community as we all open together. And Governor, we are so grateful for your part in supporting our community. You have made a commitment to the Central Valley, and we're glad that you are fulfilling that commitment. Thank you so much for being here today. And now it's my honor to be able to welcome our governor to the stage.
Thank you,
welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you. Thank you very much. First of all, I've been to a lot of sites. I've never heard of a vaccination site with its own vision statement. So, David, I really applaud you for that. And it doesn't surprise me. I was telling David, having visited so many sites, and Mayor, Madam President, you really get a sense of, excellence and professionalism or lack thereof. This is one of the finest sites in the state of California, period, full stop. And I'm not saying that because I'm here. I'm not paid to say that. I'm not saying it to patronize anybody. I'm just telling you objectively, this is one of the finest vaccination sites in the state of California. And for everybody out here in the community, I want to just make a point that David just made. There are enough vaccines here. Scarcity is not an issue. Supply is not an issue. This is open 7 days a week. It's one of the best experiences you can have. You've got these incredible navigators. Congratulations, Madam Mayor, for setting up that program. And you have that spirit that's defined by a vision statement of joy and happiness that should make you eager to take advantage of this holiday weekend and make your way over here, particularly now that everybody my age and over can get the vaccination, which is exactly what I did yesterday. I had the privilege of getting a vaccine. We've now done 18.5 million, by the way, probably likely to be close to 19 million when the dust settles at the end of the evening, 6.6 million as of yesterday, more than any other state in the country. Many vaccines that have been distributed in all but 5 nations in the world. But we recognize everybody's not 50 and over, and that's the importance David was reinforcing of lowering that threshold, eliminating any of the criteria, getting it to everybody 16 and over, which we will be doing in now less than 2 weeks on April 15th. But everybody 50 and over, please take advantage and get in now before there's a huge rush on the 15th so that we can finish the job. We're not going to run the 90-yard dash. We still have a lot more work to do. 18 plus, 19 million vaccines is impressive, but it's not where we will ultimately end up. We need to end up well above that number. And the only constraint besides supply, and that's still a constraint in other parts of the state, is hesitancy, willingness at the end of the day. And if people are unwilling or hesitant or think we're already there and everybody else did it, then we're not going to get to where we need to go, which is to end this disease, to end this pandemic, to get it behind us, to kill the disease before it continues to kill more Californians. 179 people lost their lives in the last 24 hours to this disease. It's not going to take the weekend off. This disease is not going home for Easter. This disease is not taking spring break off. This disease, I promise you, won't take the summer off. It's as deadly and virulent as it's ever been. The only thing that's put a lid on it is the antibodies for those that have been impacted, the success we have all had, you have had, with non-pharmaceutical interventions by putting face coverings on and doing the thoughtful things you've all done to mitigate the spread, and yes, the vaccines. And so if we don't continue in that stead, we won't get to where we all want to go. And where we all want to go is not even back to normal. We want to go back to a new normal that's more enlivening, more inclusive, where we recognize that we've not just struggled and suffered through a horrific and challenging year, but we've developed the capacity to thrive, and we've developed capacities we never even knew we had that reside within us as individuals, as communities, all across this state. And that's where I'm looking forward to this state coming, not back, but roaring back. And there's no doubt in my mind, you're seeing it. We have 13 counties now moved to less restrictive tiers this week. We're a few weeks away. In fact, next week, full disclosure, next week we'll make a significant announcement about the whole tiering strategy. On Tuesday, we're likely to make that announcement, updating the whole approach to tiering on the basis of our expectation that manufactured supply will come into the state. Final points, 2.4 million. That's the number of doses we just ordered for next week. Put that in perspective, 2 weeks ago, the state had 1.8 million doses, 2.4 million next week. We are the beneficiary, at least on paper. We'll see them when they arrive. 572,700 J&J doses. 572,700. Now, full disclosure on J&J, that number drops to 215,400 the week after, and then another 215,400 the week after that. There's no direct impact on the Baltimore manufacturing facility impacting our first distribution of supplier, but there may be some issues, and we're working through them. When we know more about that, we'll share them with you. But nonetheless, more predictability, more supply coming into the state, more choice, giving you, a consumer, more voice on which vaccine you choose. I think the best vaccine is the next one available. That's a personal opinion. I did get in Crenshaw, the site where I was at was one of our FEMA sites, OES. They were only doing J&J. That works for me, one and done. Others may have different opinions, but that's all part of this process. And you'll see more abundance, not just of vaccine supply, but you'll see more abundance of choices over the many weeks and months. Businesses are reopening. 9,000 of our 11,000 schools have announced they're already open or have dates for in-person instruction, foundational, fundamental. And the state's enjoying one of its biggest surpluses in California history. Over $25 billion and growing operating surplus, highest reserves in state's history. And we will be making record investments in issues of housing, homelessness, small business support, supports related to, Madam President, your needs here, this extraordinary university, CSU Bakersfield, as well as our community colleges, K through 12 education system, and the like. I hope, as well as the Californian, respectfully, to clean up this state. You'll be hearing a lot more about that in my May revise. We got to clean this state up, and that's an opportunity to build on your program here with these young men and women, giving them opportunities and second chances, and I look forward to working with you to develop more strategies to advance that cause as well. Menace, thank you. Thank you to Dignity. Thank you to Kern County Community Foundation for your incredible work. Kaiser, I mean, come on. David, you're doing an amazing job. Really proud of your work. And I say that as a proud Californian, not just as your current governor. So with that, with humility, with gratitude, I'm here as well, observing excellence, and really honored to have had the opportunity to share the last half hour with each and every one of you. Happy now to answer any questions.
Did you tell the media that our vaccines here are free? There's no charge.
There's no charge for vaccines. Anyone 50 and over can get a vaccine, no charge. And we go to great lengths in this state, regardless of your status. We want everybody to avail themselves to accessing this vaccine. We've been doing a lot of work in the Central Valley, many people where they are. I was just in Kern this week, a couple of days ago. I was at 40 Acres, not just back in Arvin, a few weeks back, making that case over and over and over again. Our ag workers, we value so much. Our farm workers, we value. Want everybody to feel safe, everyone to feel included, and there is no cost, no financial burden that is placed on you as it relates to accessing these life-saving vaccines.
Welcome back to Kern County. One question I do have is, there's a major focus here on the Central Valley, especially here in Kern County with, I might be wrong, but you've been here twice before, and we even attracted the First Lady here just recently. So I want to know, why is it so important to be here in Kern County?
Because it's an incredibly vibrant, important part of our state. There's an incredible story there's a story that hasn't been told about Kern County that I, as governor, feel responsibility to share with the rest of the state. This university, I mean, we were just talking to the president. I've served on the board of trustees at the CSU as lieutenant governor for 8 years, and we were just noting where this university was 5 years ago, let alone 10 years ago, and where you are today with record enrollment, 12,000+ students. I mean, find a facility. Look at this facility. It's beautiful. And it's so central to the fate and future of this region. There's so much, there's this dynamic in terms of the innovation happening here in Kern County. You're the center of this revolution in terms of energy and the transition, which is also remarkable. And so it's not just ag. It's not just a place, you drive through. It's a vibrant community of remarkable people. And we have a unique responsibility in this community that's been hit hard by macroeconomics, by this pandemic, to address the issues in a forthright manner. And look, I'm not naive about the politics out here for Democratic governor, but damn politics. I care about people, and I want to help this community, and so I keep coming back because I want you to believe it. And the only way you're going to believe it is you got to see it, because people don't trust what you say. They follow what you do. And so I'm just trying to do more and do better on your behalf. Anybody else? I'm going to take some.
Another question.
Oh, good. You got the mayor here. I was a mayor. I mean, get the mayor.
Something else is that it feels like we are moving a little bit faster than most of us anticipated, especially with the announcement of indoor theaters being welcomed back today. So I guess, what has changed within the last month that is allowing this kind of fast-paced motion to be happening?
Stabilization in case rates, the disease transmission, the prevalence. We're at 1.8% positivity. It's among the lowest in America. When I say among the lowest, we were the second lowest last week. We'll dust off this week, see where we stack up. Now, we saw 2,400 cases today, slightly higher than a couple of days ago, but our testing was back up over 215,000 today, so that may have been it. Look, we're mindful. We have 5 variants. We're tracking 7, actually, if you include the New York variants and the 2 West Coast variants. But we are mindful. We now have 35 Brazilian variants we've sequenced, 10 South Africa. We have 851 as of last night, 851 UK variants that we've sequenced. By the way, the West Coast is now the dominant variant in California. 9,300 plus cases and growing. So the variants, these mutations, should make you sober. There's no spiking the football. There's no having made it. Success as it relates to this disease is not a place or definition, it's really a direction. And so as much as I want to just say, we're done, take the masks off, let's go back to our original form, I would love to do that. Trust me, I'd love to do that. I can't wait for that announcement. We're just not there yet, but we're getting so close. And so that 1.8% case rates, positivity rate, holding strong over a period, extended period of time is the answer to your question, and more confidence in the work that everybody has done, that if we continue that good work, we're just a number of weeks away with these vaccines coming in at record numbers where we can truly start to reopen the economy fully.
Governor, on that note, you mentioned the coming weeks. Earlier you said you're going to make an announcement next week. Can you remind me what exactly you're going to announce next week?
Oh, that's the right question. See, right when I said it, I caught myself saying, what am I saying? Because I'm going to get in trouble here. So we've been thinking, and here, just to be fair, because you deserve this, and I want to be as transparent as possible. We're still working with local health officers, and this is the why we're waiting till likely next Tuesday. I want to do it Monday, likely Tuesday. Working with local health officers, because we're mindful, the mayor and others are saying, okay, this tiering, thanks a lot. Some say, they say other things, right? They're publicly, not just privately, about the tiers, not just eligibility for vaccines, but this notion of red, purple, all this. And when is that lifted? And we've been thinking through that for now a number of months. I mean, this is not, it was never intended to be permanent. It's temporary. And because we're getting so much closer on the vaccinations, we're going to be north of 20 million in a few days. We're finally seeing real progress on the equity frame. Equity is our North Star. We haven't backed away from it. We will exceed 4 million vaccines just in our equity component next week, which will allow people to accelerate further into those tiers. That we're getting to a point, the question now is, well, when you got orange and yellow, is there something besides yellow, besides orange? And the answer is yes. And so we want to define those terms, and we'll socialize that next week.
Governor, Kristen Barton, 23 ABC News. Nice to meet you. Thank you for coming. Some of the vaccination sites in Kern County have actually surpassed the guidelines previously set. Do you think this is a wise decision?
Well, look, at this stage where we're getting so close and you have now some abundance, which it was all scarcity, as the mayor said, right? Just a few weeks ago it was scarcity. 1.8 million a week ago, 2.4 million next week. That's significant. By the way, that's not the entire picture. That's just what the state receives. You also have had a significant increase directly from the federal government to community health clinics, directly to pharmacies. You saw this week, Walmart, Costco, now part of the pharmacy program, not just Rite Aid and Walgreens and others. And so you're seeing more and more vaccine directly and through the state. And that's put us in a position where conditions are unique and distinctive, where people are now moving through. And, we're not going to get, too punitive in that respect. Same time, we want to respect that we're all in this together, and there is some level setting in that. So I don't want to encourage everybody getting over their skis. That said, this was a very helpful visit, and I was really happy to be here to hear directly from you about the unique circumstances in Kern. I'm going to take that back this weekend, and I'll circle back with you to see if there's some flexibility, because one has to be open argument, not just ideological in this effort.
Governor Newsom, there's lots of open appointments here at this site every day, and they're starting to fill up. What would you say to those people that are out there that still aren't trying their best to secure an appointment and get down here and get a vaccine?
Well, there are 179 families that won't have a chance to hug a loved one over this holiday weekend. 179 people died of this disease in the last 24 hours. Hundreds of people every single week, thousands across this country still dying because of this deadly disease. And forgive me, if that didn't sober you up enough, I also hope you'll consider this by mitigating your own likelihood to end up in an ICU or a hospital. You're also creating some stability that is other people oriented as well, meaning you're creating conditions where you're less likely to see community spread, which means you're helping people, strangers, loved ones as well. So if it's not just about you, and you don't personally care about your own health or you think you're above it, I hope folks will also consider others. We have a Western States panel Not many people, few people remember this. I was very cautious in this. I appreciate federal government saying we're good to go, safety and efficacy, but you may recall California created its own independent panel, and we had all the Western states join our independent panel. So now it's a Western States coalition. They review all the data, the efficacy, safety, and they're stubborn. They're tough folks. And we say, don't just take the FDA's word for it. We want to know what your thoughts are. Unanimous on March 2nd, unanimous support for the safety and efficacy of the J&J. So look, millions of people have taken these vaccines. They've been around decades. The protocols and processes have been around decades. These are safe. These are effective. And this will fast track our ability to get back to school, to work, and to normal.
All right, thanks. I think we're wrapped.
Appreciate everybody.
One more,
Thank you.
runners up.
Oh, yeah.
You got to do the runners up.
Oh, the runners? Oh, geez,
Yeah,
it was
here
it.
we go.
I've been, look at this. I should know this. I know. This is a tiny.
Runners
Oh,
up.
look at you, Mayor. Look, a good mayor. That's a good mayor.
Doing it for my president.
That's it.
All right, we got it.
Did I get it right? I don't want
Governor. Thank you
to
very much.
find out it's a
No,
gang
gang
sign or
sign.
something. Yeah, no, it's finish.
Thank you, Mayor. You're awesome. Well done.
Thanks, guys. Well done. Good job. Amazing.